Hey everybody, welcome back to Havoc Maker Studio. My name is John, and today we got a lot going on. So a little later on today, probably around the 11 o'clock Central Time hour, which is going to be about an hour after the Apex Legends board game from Glass Cannon Unplugged is going to go live on Kickstarter. Links are in a previous video for that, and make sure whenever you go over to that video to get the links. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a comment, and preferably a like. But if you got to do a dislike, go ahead and please still leave a comment so that way I know what's going on. Anyways, so we got that going to go on a little later on today, and I also want to start kind of dipping my toes into Shatterpoint, kind of doing a breakdown videos, which I've talked about. So we are less than a month away from the game dropping on June 2nd. So that puts us at about 16 days. So each day, I'd like to try to get as much information out there as possible, but by going little snippets instead of this whole big breakdown of the game in one mind-boggling 30-45-minute episode. So we're going to do little snippets like today, just kind of wade into the shallow end, and hopefully we don't get it in above our head. So with further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about I think one of the more important things that is on a lot of people's minds is, how do I build my squads and who can I have in it? Because that's the game mechanics can come later, but usually I see in these type of games is, what can I have, right? What can I use? And especially when it comes to something like Star Wars or Marvel, like Marvel Crush Protocol, we want our favorite characters, right? So we're going to start by taking a peek here at the character card breakdown. So we're actually going to swap over to this. This is a little bit easier to see, for at least for you guys. So we're going to swap back and forth between pictures here in a second, but I at least want to be able to show off a few things. Now this is going to be out of number order, so at least just bear with me. So I'm going to start at the top and go left to right, top to bottom. So you can see on the card here, this is one side of the General Anakin Skywalker character card. Now the number 8, this is where we're going to start at the top, that says 7SP. That means that you have 7 squad points with this character, okay? Now the squad points are how many points you can spend on the squad that is going to be accompanying Anakin Skywalker. And I think in the box you get Rex and some clone troopers that, surprisingly or not surprisingly, equal 7 squad points. That means when you're building his squad, you can spend 7 points. Now, here's the question, or it's going to go, we go to the symbol to the right of that, number 7, and that's the era symbol. That's right now we're doing like basically the prequel, or the galactic time saga, whatever you call it. We're gonna go with the prequel era, and that right there shows which units he can have from that era with him, right? So he can have 7 points from that era. And does it have to be the clone troopers that come with them? No. No, it does not. You can actually mix it up. Now, what kind of characters you have in there? We'll get to that just in a moment. But the most important thing is that you can have 7 points from that era. And it can be any type of units from that era. Now, there are some benefits to choosing the ones that usually come with him, like I said, Rex and the clone troopers, because there's a bunch of synergy bonuses that come about by having them in the same squad. Do you have to do it? No. But is it beneficial? Oh yeah. So moving along the side to the top, that next one is the force symbol, and that's how many force points that Anakin has for your overall strike team. So the strike team consists of 2 primary characters and their squads, and that right there adds to it for one big pool that all your people can use, that at least have something that requires force points to spend. We'll get into that much later. So working down to the bottom, There's a number 9 down at the bottom there on the bottom left hand side. That just says it's the unique name. In this case, it's Anakin Skywalker. In case we get a different type of Anakin Skywalker miniature out there, you can only have one of these unique characters at a time. So if we get, I don't know, yeah, it might say young or child Anakin Skywalker, so you can do some pod racing. That would be different from this name, right? Now moving to the right, you see a thing there called primary unit, and then in parentheses there's a little figure there, just the upper body and the head. That right there is going to be telling you that this is the number of characters in it, that's the little head there, and what type of unit it is, which means it's a primary unit. That's the number 2. So it's a primary unit consisting of one individual model. So there are 3 types of units. It's primary, secondary, or supporting. And this is important because you can only have one primary unit in your force. All right, so now we're going to move from here to the other card. So this side has a lot more information that you might be looking for. So we already know that we can have up to 7 points in a card. Or in Anakin's squad. Anakin doesn't cost anything. He is your primary leader. It's the only point cost that you worry about is the units that you attach to his squad. Okay. Another note, actually, let me go back one real quick. Even though, so looking at the era card, even though he is from the prequel, basically the prequel series, you can have another squad led by let's say you have Anakin with the clone troopers in this squad. Cool, he's part of your strike team. The other member of your strike team could be from a different era. If I am understanding everything correctly, which English is my first language, though you wouldn't know it sometimes. The ability to take other era, like let's say I want to put Darth Vader and some stormtroopers in. As long as he doesn't have the Anakin Skywalker unique name, which is the number 9 down there, then he is able to be fielded with his clone troopers in the same strike team. So there's squads, which are the smaller elements, led by a squad leader, in this case General Anakin Skywalker, and so that's your squad. Now your strike team, like I said, consists of multiple squads. I hope that's a little bit more clear. So now if I'm wrong on any of this, somehow you guys go ahead and just put it in the comments below and we'll readjust for a future video. So we're back to the unit cards. Number 1 is, once again, his name, General Anakin Skywalker. Now there are a number of symbols that you'll see on the left-hand side there. These are all of his abilities that he has. Now all these abilities, depending on the symbol, there's a variety of symbols. Like in this case, he has an active ability, that's the force jump, that requires him to spend that little symbol out to the right-hand side of it. That's how many force points he has to spend. I'm going to end this. This is next one there. It's a reactive power, so it needs to another trigger, which it'll tell you what the triggering event is, has to go first, and then you can react. He has 2 of those abilities right there. So you can see it's got I'm going to end this and deflect. Now one of them, I'm going to end this, requires the expenditure of 2 force points. And deflect, the second one, requires nothing. And then the last one is an ability called it's a tactic. I think that's a tactic. Nope, that is not a tactic. That's an identity. And these are innate abilities unique to primary units. And they may or may not have a cost. And then at the bottom, below all the abilities there, you'll see some keywords or tags or traits. I think they call them tags. And like the 501st, Force User, Galactic Republic, and Jedi. Now, those generally don't mean a whole lot while you're in game, unless you have abilities or cards, anything that's going on that requires you to have one or more of those tags. And if you have them, fantastic. Now, the other thing we want to know about is how much damage can these guys take? And how much damage can they deal? We'll deal with damage later. That's an entirely different card, and it's going to require just a little bit of a more detailed walkthrough. But in this case, you see in the bottom right-hand corner of this card the number 4 and the number 5. The number 5 is pointing to that red symbol with the 11 at the top of it, or I mean to the next next to it. That right there is your stamina. This is how many points of damage you can take before you lose a point of durability, or you call it a wound if that's a little bit more something that you understand. So one is your how much damage you can take before you take a wound or a loss of durability. Now, durability is the value underneath it. That's that number 3 with the little blue heartbeat symbol. That's the number of injury tokens that you can sustain before you are removed from play. Now, there are ways to heal, at the very least, stamina. I haven't seen anything that'll heal your durability, but I'm sure there is, or there will be something along that lines. So that's pretty much it. Now, how you fight with this character, like I said, it's a separate card. That's going to require a little bit more of an analysis for another video. Anyways, if you guys have any questions about this, or if I got something wrong, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. Later on today, probably within the hour, we're going to be doing an Apex Legends launch video for Kickstarter. All right, guys, I'll see you later.